To the Minister for Agriculture, Food and Marine, the need to protect the public interest in the events of the sale of the Coilte forest. And the first speaker is Deputy McNamara.
Thank you very much. Minister, various organisations have written to your department to express their concern at the proposed sale of the Coilte forest crop because they fear that such a sale will impact negatively on public access and the recreational use of state forests. Those organisations include Mountaineering Ireland, Birdwatch Ireland, Onoiga and Tashka, the Irish Wildlife Trust and indeed Coilte, an environmental education organisation based in East Clare in the town of Scariff, which you visited earlier this year. These organisations point out that the Coilte estate covers more than 7% of Ireland's landmass and includes 11 forest parks and more than 150 recreation sites. It's estimated that 18 million individual visitors are made to the Coilte estate each year, making it one of the most significant recreational and environmental resources in this state. These forests are used by orienteers, hill walkers, runners and birdwatchers, as well as local people and family groups. The public can access miles of walking, hiking and long-distance trails, as well as new bike trails, which are being developed by Coilte as we speak. I think this is a particularly important resource at a time when we're promoting good health, fighting
a minute
obesity.
left,
Thank you. 1 minute, is it?
1 minute.
It's a particularly important resource when we're promoting good health, fighting obesity and keeping people out of hospital. And indeed at a time when people have less disposable resources to holiday abroad. This is a very important tourist resource that we have here in Ireland. My understanding is that the government, at the behest of the Troika, and indeed as part of the Agree programme, will sell the forest crop. And it is important to bear in mind that much of the Coilte crop was sown to be harvested as a commercial venture, but that the crop itself will be sold, but not the land on which the trees grow. However, ownership in itself will not protect the recreational use of forests. It is the management of the estate that will determine how public access will be maintained and amenities developed in the public interest. The use of state forests by the people of Ireland has been made possible by an open access policy by Coilte, that's a policy that Coilte maintains. However, Minister, it is very important, as I say, for the recreational facility that crop provides, that facility be ring-fenced into the future if the crop is sold.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you, Deputy.
But I'll read it as it is. I thank the deputies for raising this matter, as it gives me the opportunity to provide an update on the matter. Further to the government decision that a concession for the harvesting rights to Coilte's forest be considered for sale, Coilte Board and management have been actively engaged in recent months with New Era, the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, and my department to examine the financial and other implications of developing the potential of Coilte's forest assets. As the Minister advised last week, it is the sale of the harvesting rights to commercial Coilte forest that has been investigated. Consultants have been engaged to do specific work around valuations and managing the way in which the sales process may proceed, with the aim of maximising the value to the state, if value is to be found, as well as taking account of issues that have been identified during the overall process. Some of the issues so identified include the possible impact to the timber industry, public access to recreational land, environmental and social impacts, and consequential implications for the company and levels of employment. These issues and measures, if necessary to address them, require detailed consideration. A number of bodies have highlighted their concern that the current proposal to sell the forest assets owned by Coilte presents a threat to the use of these forests by the people of Ireland and by visitors to the country. The Government is highly conscious that Coilte, as part of its management of some 442,000 hectares of the National Forest, plays a significant role in the provision of forest recreation activities. Coilte's forests provide a range of recreation opportunities for the general public, continuing a long tradition of open access to state-owned forests. It was therefore determined that the process would not include the sale of land. The future management of the state, the maintenance of the existing amenities and environmental issues are all being considered in the current analysis. The Government intends to protect the state assets, including associated public goods, which encompasses public access. It should be noted that most of the forests to which there is public access are not commercial crops. I wish to reiterate that the decision relates to standing commercial timber. The outcome of the overall analysis will be considered by the Government upon its conclusion, which is expected early in the new year. It is a very complex process, but I am sure deputies that the Government will act with caution. Finally, I note that the deputies were also inquiring about the recent proposed sale by public tender of forestry land in County Donegal. Coilte Toronto was established as a private commercial company under the Forestry Act 1988 and day-to-day operational matters such as the sale acquisition of land, which take place regularly, are the responsibility of the company. This transaction is an operational matter at the discretion of the company and is separate from the government's decision that a concession for the harvesting rights to Coilte's forest be put forward for sale. I trust that this clarifies the matter.
I thank you for acknowledging the importance of public access. Allow me to give two examples of its importance from my own constituency of Clare. The Violet Hill Forest, which is located near Limerick, is a very popular amenity. Most notably, Crackla Wood attracts between 60 and 80,000 visitors every year. The East Clare Way follows a 172 circular route through some of East Clare's most spectacular and varied scenery, across Slievaughty and Slievebarna, and passes through parts of the Coilte estate. Also, I suppose, at a national level, we need to acknowledge that the Avondale House in County Wicklow, the home of Charles Stewart Parnell, is a forest park maintained to a high standard by Coilte. But there is an assumption abroad among people, probably a reasonable one, that the sale of the forest tree crop will produce a more aggressive commercial environment, and concerned groups fear that open access policy will be threatened and recreational amenities will no longer be maintained as they should be. Minister, I believe that state forests, even those which comprise commercial plantations, which, as I say, were planted ultimately to be harvested in a commercial manner, but they are all on publicly owned land and should be managed and maintained for the benefit of the Irish people, even after that particular crop is sold off. Thank you for the time.